This is Benedict Forsyth, bringing you the last TRIAC Chronicle recording of 1873, reporting the news in even these darkest of times. We dedicate this final broadcast of the year to bringing news of the war raging across the globe and the state of the nations holding firm against this latest assault from the invaders and their new leader, the so-called High Overseer. We will report what we know without sensationalism or suggestion. There will be nothing but the facts as we have received them. In northeast Russia, the Haven territories have been created as a safe home for the aliens in this world, to govern themselves and live without fear of subjugation. Currently, the Martians are targeting the young nation with 2 armies of foot troops consisting of Trogs and Martian warriors, alongside a mechanized squadron of battle walkers and warframes to destroy the burgeoning community. The nation is surrounded by deep red zones, and the Martians are attacking Haven from 3 sides with mixed armor and troops from all 3 armies. Haven's weak outer defenses and rudimentary wall have been protection up till now, due to the determination and ferocity of the defenders and heavy TRIAC presence, but nothing that will stand up to attack for long, and it is certain that there are some dark days of fighting still to be had in the new nation. We at the Chronicle believe that the real battle will be in the red zones beyond the settlement and at the core of the nation, in the underground habitation levels that have been built in the fortified center of the city. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those fighting for the survival of this new nation. Our reporter on the scene, Henrietta Frampton, sent this report from Haven territories some days ago.
This is Henrietta Frampton reporting live from the Haven territories. I'm standing on the western defensive line of the region and watching the troops prepare themselves for the invasion that is soon to come from the red zones as the Martians muster their forces to attack. I have to say that the defenders of this young nation are as resolute in their determination to defend their homes as any of the other countries of the world would be. This is a land that has been grown from the ruins of Martian occupation and has changed into a beacon of hope as more and more Halcanians and Reptids flock to Haven every week too to find her. I beg your pardon, listeners. An alarm has just sounded, and I can see in the distance. Yes, coming out of the wilderness. Martian forces advancing on the defensives. And there appear to be... Dear God. Listeners, we are being escorted back into the centre, the place they call the hub. Heat rays are beginning to fire at the advancing Martian forces, and the invaders have begun to return fire. We will provide another broadcast as soon as we can, but it's plain to see that the assault on Haven has begun.
Thank you, Henrietta. Chilling words indeed, listeners. In Argentina, both TRIAC and local forces continue to defend the heat wall against heavy assault, while evacuation convoys from the outer territories continue to arrive almost daily seeking shelter. While without potential reinforcements their chances may seem bleak, a TRIAC representative confirmed they are determined to stay and fight on for the duration, whatever that may be. It is assumed that the Martians are aware of the strategic gain of the entire South American continent would mean a perfect staging point for attack into the FAU, and crushing Buenos Aires is the first step in the destruction of the nation. They have sent battle squadrons of mechanized troops and an elite war host of Martian troopers to bridge the heat wall and flatten the capital before turning north and crushing America. Reports from the city are that a new weapon is being used by the invaders that has been coined a gravity ray. This terrifying weapon creates seismic events and incredible crushing pressure that destroys armor and pulverizes flesh. Boffins in the theater are working on ways to counter the weapon, but as the siege walkers move ever closer to the wall, it is uncertain if the nation will be able to resist. We go now to a report provided by Archibald Fitch from the top of the heat wall close to Buenos Aires in the heat of the action.
The atmosphere in Buenos Aires is sombre to say the least, as hundreds arrive every day to seek the safety that the heat wall provides. The brave men and women of the Argentine Defence Force man the heat wall defences constantly, ever vigilant, manning the heat ray and ether ray emplacements against the ever-present threat of Martian attack on the nation. In the deadland beyond the wall, a vast Martian force is massing, getting ready to breach the wall with the new gravity technology we've seen used in the fighting. We can only hope that the wall holds and aid comes to reinforce the nation before the invaders overwhelm the defences. Even now I can see a heat ray battery close by powering up. As I look out into no man's land, I can see a small scout-class walker that seems to be testing the defences. The operator is taking aim. The walker has been hit, it's down. People are cheering as the gunner takes aim again. The war machine is on the ground and in flames. It seems that for now, Benedict, the siege of Buenos Aires is very much still a battle of two sides. How long that will remain the case is yet to be seen.
Bravo, Archie. A brave and insightful report. In Europe, a united front of brave soldiers has retaken Flanders and have pushed the Martians back to the Ardennes, where fighting has stalled due to severe weather conditions created by a storm coming from the Arctic. The Martians have sent 3 full armies of trogs and drones, supported by light walkers and warframes, to take Central Europe from the Prussian forces defending the continent and the hegemony. The force of the attack took the Prussian forces by surprise, and Antwerp was taken and destroyed before the Allies could stabilize the line. The Prussian and Commonwealth Expeditionary Force has created a defensive line of trenches and hastily built fortifications to defend the nation and continent from the bulk of Martian forces that have yet to attack, and the build-up of forces has created a huge bulge that threatens to allow the enemy to break through and overrun the troops defending Europe's last defense. Listeners, I can tell you that in all the reports that we have had from the war, the stories from Europe are the direst, the most desperate. The troops there are not suffering from only the rigors of war, but from the direst and most desperate weather conditions imaginable. I cannot begin to imagine what it is like for those brave soldiers in the trenches of the front line, but I have the utmost respect for them, and we at the Chronicle wish them good fortune and a safe return. We have a recording from the heart of the fighting at a place called the Devil's Fork, where the trench fighting is some of the most vicious. Our reporter Gertrude Perkins is there in the thick of the conflict.
I'm speaking to you from one of the most god-forsaken places on planet Earth. The bend in the line that joins the Prussian and Commonwealth forces in the line of defensive trenches in the European theatre of war is well named. The so-called Devil's Fork is a point that juts out in the front of the line of defence and has borne the brunt of the most vicious fighting in this conflict so far. I am in awe of the volunteers that have chosen to man this forlorn hope and offer up their skills and service to stop the Martian advance. I cannot begin to describe to you the conditions that these heroes are living and fighting in. The corpses of their dead comrades, stacked up in front of them and used by necessity as part of the barricades, frozen in death, continuing to protect their brothers from harm. The winter snow has stalled the fighting, with combatants taking shots at each other through the blizzard, but how long this will last is anyone's guess.
Stay safe, Gertrude. Our thoughts are with you. In the Imperial Eastern Union, the Mongol forces of the outer lying lands of the nation have been pressed hard by thousands of Trog warriors and armoured Martian drones and assault walkers. They are holding strong against the troops, however the walkers are slowly beating them back. It is thought that unless something changes in the region, these new walkers, with their new heavy weapons, will be at the City of Pearls within the month. Whether the city's famed Golden Shield will be able to protect it is still unknown, but the forces of the Union are ready for the onslaught, and even now they prepare the defences as the Mongol horde harry the enemy, hopefully giving them enough time to prepare. If the IEU fails, then the Martian war machine will be able to join with the forces attacking Australia, and it will be virtually impossible for humanity to retain a foothold in this region. From the walls inside the Golden Shield, we have a report from our very own Jonathan Simpson.
The atmosphere in the City of Pearls is one of both nervous trepidation and frantic preparation. The walls are now manned by the Ronin, once the Tenko of the Imperial Court, and the Royal Samurai, whose only thought is the protection of the Empress. The Mongol forces are still in the field, fighting a desperate war of attrition against the overwhelming and superior Martian forces. But all accounts are telling us that the brave warriors of the steppes are holding against the forces of Mars. How long they can stand against the superior technology and armour of the Martians is unknown, and if they cannot hold for enough time for the city to prepare, it is unsure if this nation will be able to withstand the forces that is arrayed against them. We will be here on the walls of the city to report the events that transpire throughout the conflict, and we stand resolute in the face of the forces that threaten to engulf the Union.
Thank you, Jonathan. Let us pray that the shield stays strong against the onslaught. In the FAU, we have had multiple reports of vast hordes of red weed mutants advancing on the downed city. The generators are too damaged to charge either the etheric defense shields or the ether cannon and heat cannon emplacements, so the forces of the FAU have created a cordon of defensive emplacements, manned by the FAU ground forces and regular citizens of the city, who have taken up arms to defend their homes. The mutants have been confirmed to be converging on the city by the elite Pathfinder teams employed by the nation, and they have reported they are being driven forward by a new classification of walker classified as a commander. They seem to forgo normal weapons and have strange tentacular appendages that have a controlling effect on the swarms that push them on. They are being supported by Martian flyers that are providing a screen around the horde. The Skyjack fleet is still nowhere to be seen, having been strung out for months in the Canadian Red Zone, and they are out of contact. The first battle in the fight has been fought in the Red Zone surrounding the city. In the north, a small squadron of ships sporting the black cross of the mysterious Templars has been reported to have engaged with one of the hordes. We have been made aware that one of the ships went down in the fight, and details are sketchy at this time. It is still not really known where this so-called Templar Order's allegiance lies, and with the notorious and highly secretive ex-owner of Raven Herald Industries at its head, it is still this reporter's view that there is a lot more to this Order of Knights that has not yet been discovered. As the forces of the Overseer march ever closer to the beleaguered city, it becomes increasingly obvious that without the Skyjack fleet, the city of New Richmond will only be able to hold out for so long before it is swamped by the red tide that fast approaches. Our journalist, Cynthia Graham, who has been in New Richmond since it fell, sent us this report some days ago.
I am standing in the centre of Aid Station D7, nicknamed Dante's 7th. The repurposed hangar is the place that brave men, women and aliens come to be healed or find a place to pass in peace to a better place. The brave surgeons and doctors that work tirelessly in the station are a testament to all that's noble and bold in the Union, and I salute every single. It seems that the outer perimeter alarm from the west has been triggered. That can only mean that the Horde is on our doorstep. It seems that battle will soon be joined. The nation is mobilising. Soldiers and support workers are moving into position. And it seems that soon we will see the true defence of New Richmond begin in earnest.
Stay strong, Cynthia. We are sure that help will soon be on the way. Free Scandinavia has seen an invasion on an unprecedented scale. Thousands of Martian troops flood into the nation from the red zones to the east and drive the giant trolls and razor wings before them, using them as a shield and shock force to weaken the forces of the Jarls. Fast-moving light walkers and warframes have been reported, but it seems that the battle and assault walkers have mostly been deployed elsewhere, their place as shock troops being taken by the enormous avian mutants recently discovered, alongside mighty trolls driven down from the mountains. The Jarls have mustered their forces and have mounted a defence in the centre of the country at Terminus, their capital. This vast city of oil and smoke in the centre of a web of tracks is the place where the Scandinavians have decided to make their last stand. People travel in on the trains every day, and they step off the mighty behemoths only to be given sword or rifle and told to stand on the walls and defend. There are no non-combatants in this city, just an army waiting for the storm to break upon them. The Jarls have summoned their housecarls and their ferdmen and made walls of the giant trains, waiting for the great battle to come. Other groups of housecarls and groups of allies and Commonwealth detachments range out to take the fight to the enemy, slowing their advance and the inevitable assault that will eventually come. The time of the final battle is fast approaching, and it will be a battle the like of which will be sung in the mead halls for centuries to come. We at the Chronicle are in awe of those brave men and women, and aliens, who wait for the war to greet them. We salute the bravery it takes to know that the conflict will come, and there are but two outcomes: live or die. This will be the last stand of the Jarls, and whatever the outcome, we at the Chronicle are sure it will be magnificent. Our embedded correspondent, Horace Gently, has sent us this recording from the nation's capital, Terminus.
The city of Terminus has been under attack for over 3 days by advanced forces of Martian warriors who drive trolls and razor wings in front of them. They have been assaulting the capital for all of this time, and the brave defenders have repelled them so far. How long this will last is yet to be determined, as we have not yet seen the main bulk of the Martian war machine being thrown at the walls of Terminus. I've seen the firepower of the great trains and the emplacements on the walls of the city, but everything is finite and guns can only fire for so long. The mighty Huskarl units and power-armoured elites sharpen their swords and prepare for the time when they will be needed to repulse the forces if and when they breach the walls. But there is no fear in them, no worry or strain when they talk. The hatred they have in their eyes is a potent weapon in the face of the enemy, and the deadly smiles on the faces of the defenders as they cover their faces with the traditional woad marking of their regiments. I wonder if a Martian can feel fear as they fill this reporter with dread even before they go to war. The city is alone, and all of its might is in its walls and the strength and determination of its people to never bow to Martian oppression or dominance. This nation is one that understands what it is to be under the dominion of another, and there will never be a time where they will bow their heads. This is a fight that will end in the total annihilation of one force or the other. There will be no retreat, no surrender, no détente, just the total destruction of the Martians, or the destruction of Terminus and all that defend her.
Horace, thank you for your concise, if somewhat ominous accounts of the events in the north. Within the last few weeks, forces of trogs and warriors have advanced on the nation of Australia from the Redback, driving ravagers and mutants against the forts and defences in the great Martian fence. Tacticians have been plainly able to see that the target of the assault is New London. The Sky Armada is doing what it can to repel the attacks, but with mutants assaulting along the entire Martian wall, it is only a matter of time, the Chronicle feels, before these defences will be breached. The First Fleet is holding over the Royal Palace, and all available elements of the army are being deployed in defence of the city. If this defence is beaten, then the whole country is vulnerable, and New London, I fear, will be lost to the world. Drastic measures, it seems, must be employed, but is this nation ready to unleash its most potent defences? Does it need more time and training before Project Pacific Freedom can be put into the field? This reporter hopes the answer to that question is no, because although we are not fully aware of the nature of this weapon, we hope that it is complete enough to make its presence known in what is a desperate situation for the nation. What we do know is that the fate of the Australians is down to no one but the Australians and their TRIAC support. Cut off from the rest of the world by other Martian invasions, this will truly be the RAP's finest hour, or the last hours of the final vestiges of empire. Some moments ago, we received this report from the Protectorate capital of New London from Abigail Wright, our Chronicle agent on the scene.
From the roof of the Victoria Hotel, I am looking across the grounds of the Palace in New London at the sprawling and vibrant city that flows out like a living carpet of humanity out to the north of the country. In the distance I can see the wall of the city, the last defence against the hordes that are marching as we speak towards the nation's capital. As I am watching, I can see the telltale flashes of fire from the top of the wall as the Gauss emplacements begin to fire at an as yet unrevealed foe. The distant Martian war sirens can be faintly heard from a boat beyond the wall, and the elements of the Sky Armada stationed over there are joining the cavalcade of fire as battle is joined with the foe. As I look into the sky above the palace, the huge ships of the First Fleet have turned their prows to the fighting, but are still holding over the palace. We do not know if the Queen and the royal family is still in residence, but it seems that the First has orders to defend and not to engage as yet. I can see that a large breach has been blasted in the wall, and the flames and smoke are obscuring the view at the moment. Wait. Things are clearing. I can see something coming through the gap. It's a walker. A Martian walker. No! 2 walkers! Oh my God! Listeners, what I am seeing is a monstrous war machine, walking on 6 legs and sporting weapons that are simply terrifying, disintegrating the whole length of wall and buildings. I did not think it possible that such a machine could exist. We see more elements entering the city now. Other walkers now. The heat rays are being turned on the armies of the Protectorate and up at the ships of the Armada. Benedict, if this gets to the Chronicle, let the world know that New London has been breached and the war has arrived in the city. Get this recording out straight away on the fastest transport. The world needs to know.
Whatever the situation in Australia, it seems that many brave souls died to provide us this information. We salute you, Abigail. Our thoughts are with you and your fellows. We salute all the brave men, women and aliens who are fighting in this latest Martian offensive, and wish them all good fortune and a safe journey home to their loved ones. We would like to take a moment to thank the brave reporters of the Chronicle for their unswerving vigilance in reporting the events that are unfolding around the world, and wish them a safe return from the war also. But for now, it seems we have come to the end of our allotted time once again. So this is Benedict Forsyth saying goodbye, and keep listening wherever you are.